It's very fascinating, the things that the Bible has to say about human beings and the human condition. And we find the following things in Genesis chapters 1, 2, and 3. You know, the word Genesis just means beginning. And the book of Genesis, the first book in the Bible, is God letting us know how everything got started. And it answers the questions, where do we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? Who are we? There are answers there. And it's fascinating that God first created, by a direct act of His, human beings. He created people. He created a man, Adam. He created a woman, Eve. And the fascinating thing about humans in Genesis 1, 2, in the beginning of chapter 3, is they were fully alive. Not just physically. Spiritually, they were alive. Spiritually, they were whole. Spiritually, their soul was robust, and it was healthy, and it was fully functional. They were alive in every sense of the word. And here's what's fascinating. Humans, as they were created by God, being fully alive, were vitally connected, according to Genesis, to three things. First of all, they had a relationship with God. The indication in Genesis isn't on a regular basis. God would show up in the paradise that humans lived in at the time, and He would interact with them. They would converse. He would talk to them. They would talk to Him. They would share or debrief the day. They would talk about the future. But there was some sort of actual, honest, ongoing relationship between human beings and God. We find that human beings were also vitally connected to people, to each other. Adam and Eve got along really well with each other. In fact, it's fascinating, in our culture, especially now, it's kind of like, you don't want to show pictures of Adam and Eve because they're naked. Okay? And the Bible says they were naked and they were unashamed. It doesn't mean they were really buff and they liked their bodies. It's really speaking of something deeper and more spiritual. It said they were totally open with each other. Nothing to hide, no barriers, no dishonesty, no fears. We're like totally, absolutely connected. No secrets, nothing to hide. We're open, we're transparent, we're one. You know everything about me, I know everything about you. That's how those two people live with each other. They were vitally connected to people, to each other. And then, it's fascinating, they're also vitally connected to a purpose. After God created them, He said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to keep the earth, and I want you to multiply and create a whole civilization of people, and that's what I want you to do. And with Adam and Eve, He was more specific, because Genesis 2 says that he created a garden, the Garden of Eden. And then He took Adam and Eve, already created, and He put them in the Garden of Eden. And He said, I want you to take care of this garden. It wasn't like, take care of the whole earth. It was a big place and there's two people. Put it in hard. He said, here's one garden. This is what I want you to do. You take the general things I said and you do it right here. And Adam and Eve had a vital connection to God. They had a vital connection to each other, people. They had a vital connection to a God-given purpose for being alive. And here's the deal. Their vital connection to these things brought life to their soul. Just like air. Just like water. Just like food did for their body. A relationship with God. A relationship with others that was open and honest and real. And a relationship with a purpose for being alive, given to them by God. It just gave their souls life. And they were strong and healthy and vibrant and fully functional. All was well. Then maybe you know kind of how the story turns. Because God decided to set a boundary. Isn't that just like God? Somebody put a boundary. I'm going to put this one tree in the middle of this garden that I gave Adam and Eve to live in and take care of. And here's the deal with this tree, he said to Adam and Eve. You can't eat from this one. He called it the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So there's so many other trees. Look at all of them. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't know. Look at all of them everywhere. You can eat from any one you want. But this one tree, don't eat from this one tree. Do you know what that one tree was really all about? It was a test of love and trust. It was God saying, do you love me enough that you'll do what I say? Do you trust me enough that I actually know what I'm talking about and how things work? That you will obey me and not eat from this tree? It was really a symbol of their love and trust for God. That's what the tree was. Remember how the story goes? Satan shows up in the form of a serpent. Because he never shows up in his real form. Just never does. And through that serpent, he tempted the two humans in that garden. And they made the choice to eat the fruit. Remember, God said, if you eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of evil, you will surely die. That's clear. Here comes the snake, Satan in the snake. No, you won't die. No. God's holding out on you, because the day you do that, your eyes will be open, and you will know good from evil, and you will be like God. And you know he was right on 2 out of 3. But they didn't come like God, did they? In reality, they took a step back from full humanity. So he tempts them, and they eat of that tree. But here's the deal. The moment they ate it, they didn't die. The Bible would be really short and not written to anybody. I mean, they ate it, but they were still alive. Remember, then God came and said, what did you do? And then they kind of argued with God for a while, and then they bickered with each other for a while. They each blamed each other, and then they blamed the snake. And then there were consequences for their actions. And then they had children. And then there were grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so many years later, they finally died. But God said, whoa. The day you eat it, you'll die. Why didn't they die? The day they ate it. But wait. Maybe they did. See, death in the Bible doesn't mean to cease to exist. It doesn't mean to no longer have a consciousness. Death means separation. Death is a separation of two things that were meant to be together. When God created human beings, he created them body and soul, or body and spirit. We are meant to be spiritual beings that inhabit a body. They're supposed to go together. But when we physically die, two things meant to be together suddenly become separated. Our body goes one way in the ground. Our soul goes another way somewhere where we're still conscious. Death is a separation of two things meant to be together. And on the very day, at the very moment that Adam and Eve failed the test of love and trust, they died. Not physically, they died spiritually, because they became disconnected from God and from each other and from their God-given purpose for being alive. And what had once been a vital relationship that gave life and health to their souls was now severed, and they became disconnected, and they began to go through death throes and die.